If you are walking into Hitman Absolution expecting the wide-open, choose-your-own-adventure sandbox of Blood Money or the modern world of Assassination trilogy, you are going to get spotted, cornered, and gunned down in seconds. This isn't a traditional assassination simulator. When you boot up this highly controversial 2012 title today, the reality hits you immediately. This is a gritty, linear, stealth action movie where Agent 47 isn't a patient, calculating professional on a contract. He is a desperate, cornered runaway, protecting a vulnerable girl while running for his absolute life. Because of that narrative shift, Absolution completely broke the established rules of the franchise, earning it a permanent reputation as the undisputed black sheep of the series. For over a decade, fans have argued passionately about this game, and the consensus today is crystal clear. Hitman Absolution is a genuinely fantastic, mechanically tight action stealth game, but it is a fundamentally terrible Hitman game. It took the sprawling, cerebral puzzle boxes the franchise was famous for and crushed them down into linear, claustrophobic hallways filled with cinematic explosions, quick-time events, and a bizarre, hyper-punishing disguise system. In any other Hitman game, your disguise is a golden ticket that grants you access to specific zones. But in Absolution, every single police officer can instantly see through your outfit. The game operates under a bizarre logic where every cop in Chicago apparently knows every other cop personally. If you walk within 20 feet of a guard while wearing the same uniform, your suspicion meter explodes. You have no room to breathe, no crowd to blend into. You have to actively burn through a supernatural energy resource called instinct just to pull your hat down, look at the floor, and pray the guard walks past without pulling his revolver. Welcome to the ultimate black sheep of stealth history. Developed by IO Interactive and running on the Glacier 2 engine, Hitman Absolution attempted to mainstream a notoriously niche franchise for the Call of Duty generation. So tighten your silver tie, holster your silver ballers, and let's ask the burning question. How does Hitman Absolution feel to play today? And how did a game with such phenomenal core mechanics manage to get the identity of its own franchise so completely wrong? Let's step into the line of fire and to understand why Hitman Absolution feels so distinct and why it alienated the hardcore fan base, you have to break down its core mechanical engine, which relies heavily on a highly experimental trinity: the unforgiving suspension of disguises, the instinct resource bar, and checkpoint-based levels. In traditional Hitman design, social stealth is a game of rules and clearance levels. If you dress as a waiter, you can walk through the kitchen, but not the security room. Absolution completely threw that out the window, replacing social stealth with an aggressive, hyper-vigilant enforcer system. Your clothes are no longer a shield. They are a ticking time bomb. The game establishes a rule that anyone wearing the exact same outfit as you is an automatic enforcer who will spot you almost instantly. If you dress as a janitor, every janitor on the map tracks your movements with intense suspicion. This mechanical choice completely strips away the classic Hitman feeling of hiding in plain sight. Instead of feeling like a master assassin blending seamlessly into a crowd, you feel like a fugitive hiding behind a thin piece of cardboard. To move through a room safely, you are forced to treat your disguise exactly like Sam Fisher treats a shadow, as a temporary barrier that requires constant physical evasion, cover swapping, and line-of-sight breaking. To balance this brutal disguise penalty, IO Interactive introduced Instinct, a multifaceted glowing energy bar that serves as Agent 47's ultimate superpower. Instinct is a finite resource that drains rapidly when used. It allows you to see enemy skeletons through solid walls, tracks their exact walking paths via glowing red footprints on the floor, and most importantly, allows you to blend in to bypass enforcers when you are caught out in the open. Because instinct is so vital for basic survival, the game turns resource management into a frantic mechanical hustle. You have to constantly perform stealth takedowns, hide bodies, or execute clean accidental kills just to siphon energy back into your instinct bar so you don't get exposed in the next hallway. When stealth completely fails, which it frequently does due to the aggressive AI, Absolution reveals its true identity as a spectacular, heavy-hitting action game. It features point shooting, a cinematic mechanic lifted straight out of Red Dead Redemption or Splinter Cell Conviction. By clicking your analog stick, you freeze time entirely. You can manually paint targeting reticles onto the heads, chests, and explosive barrels surrounding multiple enemies. The moment you release the trigger, time snaps back into motion, and Agent 47 executes every target in a blinding, hyper-lethal flash of gunfire. Combined with an incredibly snappy, tight third-person cover system, the gunplay feels weighty, violent, and highly responsive, delivering a brilliant rush of adrenaline that traditional, clunky Hitman titles never allowed. The core reason Absolution is widely criticized as a bad Hitman game lies directly in its structural geometry. It abandoned the vast, open, non-linear sandboxes where you are dropped into a massive mansion or airport and told to find your own way to a target. Instead, it split its campaign into tightly controlled, segmented checkpoint levels. A massive portion of Absolution's runtime doesn't even feature an assassination target. Instead, you are tasked with simply getting from point A to point B to escape a burning hotel, an orphanage, or a heavily guarded cornfield. The level design shifts from an open-ended murder mystery into a linear puzzle corridor. You aren't observing target routines or looking for creative places to poison a drink. You're simply trying to sneak past a wall of guards to touch a glowing door handle that triggers a cutscene and moves you to the next subsection of the map. If you choose to explore, you quickly hit invisible walls or arbitrary boundaries that break the immersion of being a master predator. To gamify this linear structure, the developers implemented a highly intrusive real-time score modifier. Every action you take, getting spotted, knocking out a non-target, or failing to hide a body, instantly deducts points from a global scoreboard on your screen. This system completely misunderstood the joy of the franchise. Hitman has always been about chaotic experimentation, learning through failure and pulling off sloppy, improvised escapes. By flashing negative point deductions on your screen the second a plan goes awry, the game actively insults your creativity, forcing you to play in a highly rigid, uninspired, purist stealth style. Compounding this frustration is the flawed checkpoint system. Activating a manual checkpoint button saves your position, but if you reload that save, the entire map resets, dynamically respawning every guard you previously knocked out or killed right back onto their starting patrols. It's a broken mechanical interaction that turns late-game stealth into a grueling exercise in frustration. While Absolution fails spectacularly as a traditional assassination simulator, it deserves absolute praise for its phenomenal visual and auditory atmosphere. Played today on modern hardware, the game looks staggering, standing as an incredible showcase of what IO Interactive's Glacier 2 engine could pull off long before the current console generation. The art direction completely ditches the sterile, high-class elegance of the modern trilogy in favor of a dirty, sweat-soaked grindhouse action movie aesthetic. The world is bathed in hyper-saturated colors, heavy lens flares, and dynamic rain effects. From the neon-drenched, muddy streets of Hope, South Dakota, to a crowded Chinatown market packed with hundreds of independently simulated AI NPCs, the environments feel incredibly alive, grimy, and visually striking. The character models are highly stylized, grotesque caricatures that look like they stepped straight out of a graphic novel, giving the entire narrative a distinct, darkly comedic tone. This cinematic grittiness is backed by an exceptional audio landscape. The soundtrack ditches the traditional orchestral scores of Jesper Kid for a highly reactive electronic industrial soundtrack that dynamically matches your stealth status. When you are safely hidden, the music drops to a low, rhythmic, heartbeat-like synth bass line. But the second you engage point shooting or pull out your dual silver ballers, the audio roars to life with crushing drum beats and distorted industrial guitars that make the gunplay feel incredibly cinematic. The sound of weapon fire is deafening. Every gunshot echoes violently off concrete walls. Shotgun blasts carry a concussive thump, and the crunch of physical hand-to-hand melee combat feels uncomfortably heavy and impactful. It occupies a highly unique space where its technical achievements are constantly fighting against its franchise identity. If you stop trying to play it like a silent assassin simulator and instead play it as a linear stealth action game like Splinter Cell or Max Payne 3, the game is an absolute blast. The mechanics of sliding between cover, executing point-shooting headshots, and using using environmental objects like brick pieces or fire extinguishers as lethal throwing weapons feel incredibly snappy and satisfying. You can physically see the moments where the classic Hitman DNA tries to break through the linear constraints. Levels like the King of Chinatown or Blackwater Park offer beautiful miniature glimpses of the open sandboxes fans loved, giving you just enough freedom to pull off classic accident kills before shoving you right back into the next linear sewer escape corridor. The story and dialogue are aggressively early 2010s edgy, filled with over-the-top violence, bizarre sexualization, and comic book villains that can feel incredibly jarring, and dated to a modern audience used to the refined, sophisticated tone of Agent 47's newer adventures. But when you strip away the baggage of its title, Hitman Absolution remains an incredibly impressive, highly entertaining action stealth hybrid. It stands as a vital historical warning lesson in game design, a masterclass in how a studio can execute phenomenal gunplay, breathtaking graphics, and tight controls, yet still alienate their core audience by fundamentally misunderstanding what made their franchise special in the first place. It is a bad Hitman game, but a damn good action game. And that is Hitman Absolution, a beautiful, hyper-violent, and deeply flawed masterpiece of identity crisis design that remains one of the most fascinating mechanical experiments of its generation. Do you look back at Absolution as a brilliant, cinematic action game that you secretly love? Or are you still frustrated that it locked Agent 47 inside a series of linear hallways? And more importantly, what was your absolute favorite way to clear a room? Were you a ghost who managed the broken disguise system? Or did you just activate point shooting and blast your way out? Let me know below. And if this massive, detailed breakdown into the roots of gaming's most controversial clone gave you a massive rush of nostalgic tension, please smash that like button. It really helps our channel's squad slipstream past the harsh YouTube algorithm and delivers this video directly to stealth and action fans. If you want more exhaustive retrospectives, mechanical dissections, and honest breakdowns of the titles that shaped gaming history, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. See you next time.